For 38 years, I was invisible in my own family. My sister was the golden child, and I was treated like a problem. They mocked my job and ignored my life. Until one Thanksgiving, my laptop exposed everything. Throwaway account for obvious reasons. I'm sitting here in my home office, staring at a view of the Detroit skyline, and honestly, I still can't believe it all blew up this fast. If you've ever felt like a ghost in your own house, you'll get where I'm coming from. I'm Sarah. For 38 years, I was the other one. You know, the dynamic one. Kid is the golden child, who can't do a single thing wrong, and the other might as well be part of the drywall. My sister Rachel was that kid. She was born 2 months early, and from that moment on, the world revolved around her lungs, her allergies, and her fragile ego. The bleach smell, man, it still haunts me. My mom turned our house into a surgical ward. If I so much as cleared my throat, I was packed off to Grandma Marie's or Aunt Kelly's. At first, I thought it was a vacation. Cookies and mystery books, right? But eventually, it hits you. You're not being sent on an adventure. You're being treated like a biohazard. I was unsafe for Rachel. I tried everything. Straight A's. Mom was too busy scheduling Rachel's 5th exhaustion checkup to look at my report card. Winning the science fair? Dad asked me to keep the trophy in the garage because Rachel might be allergic to the dust on it. I taught myself piano for months to play bridge over troubled water at the talent show. Guess who didn't show up? They were at Rachel's flute recital where she basically murdered hot cross buns. So, I stopped trying for them and started doing it for me. While Rachel was busy ruling her drama empire in high school, I was in my room with vintage jewelry. Grandma Marie had sparked this obsession in me, sorting her old costume pieces, cataloging every clasp and hallmark. It was my sanctuary. I worked double shifts at a diner, saved every penny, and got a 1,600 on my sats. When I told my mom, she literally told me to keep it down because Rachel was trying to focus on a C+ English essay. That was the moment I checked out. I applied to 15 colleges on my own, handled all the FAFSA paperwork, and got a full ride to UMich. My parents didn't even come to move-in day. Rachel had a cheerleading competition. Aunt Kelly drove me. After college, I got an entry-level job at an auction house. That's where the magic happened. I found an Art Deco brooch everyone thought was junk. It was a $47,000 Cartier original. My boss, Mr. Harrison, finally saw me. He taught me the ropes, and soon I was authenticating 6-figure pieces. But I didn't stop there. I took out a loan, moved into a tiny office that smelled like the Chinese restaurant downstairs, and started my own authentication firm. It was terrifying. I was eating ramen and sitting on a chair I found on the curb. But word got out. Collectors, estate lawyers, even my old boss started sending me work. Within 5 years, I had offices in Detroit, Chicago, and New York. I was clearing 7 figures in commissions. But here's the kicker. I didn't tell my family a single word. To them, I was still Sarah who works at that dusty antique shop. I'd show up to Sunday dinners in a $3,000 cashmere sweater that looked plain enough to be from Target, listening to Rachel brag about her entry-level marketing job. I even started sending them $7,000 a month anonymously through a trust, letting them think it was some family legacy or a lucky break. I was paying for Rachel's MBA while she was calling my job cute. Everything imploded last Thanksgiving. My mom had a herniated disc and was panicking about the dinner. Like a fool, I offered to help. I hired a high-end catering crew I usually use for corporate events. I told my parents I'd saved up for it. The food was incredible, maple glazed sprouts that cost more than Rachel's weekly groceries. But Rachel couldn't let me have one win. She kept making snarky comments about store-bought stuffing. I just ignored her. I had a major auction happening in Hong Kong on my laptop and needed to monitor a bid for a client. I went to my old bedroom to check the numbers. I left the room for a second, and that's when Rachel struck. She didn't knock, she never does. She grabbed my laptop, thinking she'd find something embarrassing to mock me with in front of the whole family. She marched into the dining room, 20 relatives deep in turkey and wine. "Let's see what important work Sarah is doing," she sneered, flipping the screen around. The room went dead silent. On the screen wasn't some antique catalog. It was my firm's quarterly profit report. $4.2 million in profit. A pending $12.4 million account balance. My face on a Forbes Under 40 draft article. Rachel's face went from smug to ghostly in 3 seconds. She actually swayed like she was going to faint. This can't be right, she whispered. My mom started giggling, thinking it was a joke. Sarah works at a little shop, Rachel. Don't be silly. I stood up, smoothed out my Target sweater, and finally spoke. Actually, Mom, I own the largest jewelry authentication firm in the Midwest. Those old jewelry comics? I authenticate pieces worth more than this entire neighborhood. The chaos that followed was like a fever dream. My dad choked on his drink. Aunt Kelly dropped her fork. But then, the tone shifted. My mom didn't say I'm proud of you. She screamed. You have millions and you let us struggle? Struggle? I was sending them $7,000 a month. But to them, that wasn't enough. Rachel started sobbing about how I betrayed the family by not giving her $1 million head start. Dad started yelling about family obligations. I'd had enough. 30 years of being invisible suddenly turned into 30 years of pure, cold clarity. You didn't raise me, I told them. You managed me like a nuisance. You missed my graduation for a cheer competition. You never saved a dime for me. And now you're mad because I built something without your help? I grabbed my laptop, took my replica Hermes bag, and walked out. The phone calls started before I even hit the driveway. 47 missed calls. Texts ranging from "we're so sorry" to "you're selfish monster." Rachel went on Facebook, posting a 5-page rant about her millionaire sister hoarding wealth. The final boss moment happened that Monday. I walked into my office to find Mom, Dad, and Rachel sitting in the lobby. They'd made an appointment. Rachel actually had the nerve to demand a $2 million startup fund for her new life. I'm done, I said, right there, in front of my receptionist. I pulled out my phone and canceled the monthly trust transfers. The look on their faces, it was worth every penny of that $12 million. I had to have security escort them out. My own mother was screaming about ungrateful children while being led to the elevator. It's been 6 months. I've changed my number, moved to a house with better security, and haven't looked back. Grandma Marie is the only one I talked to, she told them. It's about time Sarah won. For the first time in my life, I'm not a ghost. I'm not a biohazard. I'm just me. And honestly, the silence is the most expensive thing I've ever bought. And it's worth every cent. Reddit. Thanks for listening. And to Rachel, if you're reading this, that Cartier bracelet in your latest Instagram post, it's a fake. Just saying.